So this is part two with Maurice. This is the work you see behind us is Tia, the Bone Artist. And Google that. Check out Facebook. So Maurice, tell us about the struggles of being an artist. The struggles.
Well, I feel like
Talk to my people, my YouTube people. They need help. Some of y'all. I don't take it personally.
I feel like anything you're gonna do that you really love, it's not gonna come without struggle. But being an artist is particular in that sense where you have struggle. I'm sure you all have heard of the struggling artist. I don't necessarily believe in that, but I do see it in some sense as being true because as an artist, you're doing something that you love, that comes from your heart, but the world doesn't necessarily see it the way we artists see it. So it doesn't always equivalent to financial means.
So I want to say here, the artist, that saying, the struggling artist. Where did that word come from? And I'm not putting you on the spot, but where did that saying come from? Because we are what we speak. And I thought about what you're thinking about too, of the struggling artist. And I'm saying it's almost like that was planted because we are a struggling artist if we admit and we speak that we are a struggling artist. And I don't negate the fact that we live in a culture that does not honor the artist. They honor the celebrity artists that they put up in front of us and say, "Oh, you can be that." But when it comes down to the funding, the money, we're not supported as local artists.
Right.
So I think, and not to push away your point, but I think that we need to change our language.
We definitely do. We need to look. We as artists, we need to look at our art as from an entrepreneurial standpoint.
Yes.
Because when you create the art, you put the framing into it, you put the transportation into it, you're adding up dollars into this. So when you're adding up dollars into something, that then becomes business. So when you look at it from a business standpoint, you are now your own entrepreneur because you created this product and now you have to find a way to get it out there and to live off of something you created. So I feel like we as artists, we need to get over it. We need to leave that past thinking behind and figure out how are we going to do this and live mainly off of, our dreams. Yeah, we love it. Yeah, it's our meaning here on earth, but we need to figure out how we can be the entrepreneur that we know we want to be. And I feel like also the term struggling artist to me isn't only comes from finance. I also feel like people who do art, whether it be music, performance, poetry, all of that comes from a place of whether you want to say struggle or pain. You can't have that come from just like a person that's just like completely happy. They can create art. But I feel like it also comes from a deep place within yourself that you might not always want to show. You might not always want to talk. That comes through in your art. So I feel like struggling artist goes with that too. If you know what I mean.
It does. Maybe we could learn how to integrate it a different way because I hear what you're saying. If you have an artist that hasn't been through stuff, hasn't experienced stuff, they can't transform pain or happiness in the work.
Right.
It's bland. It doesn't have, musicians are perfect to explain that. When you listen to James Brown over and over, whatever was going on with him, we still feel his work.
And somebody else can cover James Brown and you won't get that same feeling.
Right.
Because he created that and the way he says the words, and even if you feel the words or not, but the way it comes from him, it's different coming from somebody else.
It comes from him.
Right. Like if I go do a Michelangelo piece, it's not going to be the same.
Right.
It might look good, but it won't be the same.
We were just talking about Bobby Womack. Another one. He does music his way. You can't do a Bobby Womack song the way he has done his work. So that's that individuality and that ability to touch other people through the quality of whatever you're doing.
You have to channel within yourself and find that and say, this is what I want to convey to the people viewing what I can produce.
So it's almost like a duality in the struggle. There is struggle. We don't deny struggle.
Right.
But the struggle in terms of making revenue, making money, is not really a struggle. It's a process, and you need to understand, as you talked about, that it's a business process that we need to understand. We're not just artists that we just create. Oh, I'm so wonderful, I create. And no. There's all kinds of stuff that has to be addressed. And I'm talking about this like I do it all right. I don't do it all right. I'm still learning as I talk to the artists here.
And I believe we never stop learning. That's one of
Then we just said that to my man. We was like, we're always on a learning curve.
Right. And that's it's so simple. It was a quote, again, Michelangelo. It was a quote by him. I'm still learning. But that resonates with me so much because...
You quote Michelangelo?
Yeah.
See, that's what I brought in.
It resonates with me so much because, like, something so literal, so simple, but it's so deep. Because right now I'm 27. When I get 60...
That's what's said on Facebook.
Hopefully... when I get 60, hopefully it's still things that
you said 60?
Yeah.
A black man reaches 60? What? No, I'm just joking. I ain't no
dreams. But hopefully, if I get there or when I get there, hopefully there's still stuff that I can learn from other people.
I feel that.
Like, I feel like there's people in my life that's, close to that age already that I can learn from. And then I have a nephew that's 8.
That's how
there's stuff he knows that I don't know. So I can't be naive to say that I know everything.
Now, since you took me that way, so we're looking at the bones of Tia, the bone artist, and in a real sense, the way I see what's happening to the artist, if you really embrace artistry creates the world, we're really going back to indigenous sciences where we become mentors, and we're trained by those. We just talked to Jay Wilson. We're trained by those that have been in the community, and also we begin to become elders as the small ones see our work, and they say, "Oh, he's an artist."
Right.
Like the little ones we saw here last night, they're in an art studio, and they're in an exhibit, and they're looking around, and they're looking at me and you, and they will remember at some time, all the things that they do and see.
I feel like we as artists, we have to go through both pain and joy in order to create. Because, for example, there was a piece that I think it was in Chicago. There was a guy that had, everybody knows the Mike Brown case. There was a guy that made a big sculpture, like a life-size sculpture of Mike Brown, of him laying dead on the ground. But what happened was, he put it in a gallery. And the galleries were windows just like this, like big windows. So everybody that's passing by, they could see this big sculpture of Mike Brown laying dead on the ground with the caution tape around him. So when you go into the gallery, it's actually like an interactive piece. And the person that created that, he couldn't have created that without feeling some type of way about the particular situation. And because he felt that particular way about the situation, he was able to create it. And people now that may not care about that whole situation, they can now see that, and now they probably feel something. So I feel like artists is, yes, we do, what's the word? We do...
well, we transfer the feelings that we have in our world. We want people to feel and understand. We're an expression of ourselves, but also to the universe. It's almost, I hear this in the series that we're conduits, we receive, and then we give back out. So our Creator gives us innate skills. We see the world through our experiences, through our education or undereducation, whatever, and then we give back out. And like you were talking about, you were like saying that people are looking at your art and saying, "Oh, I see this and that." And you're like, "That wasn't intent, but that's okay."
Right.
Because that's my expression of what I've received, and I'm giving it back to you.
Right. And that's like another good quote to quote another person that I look up to. Tupac had a quote that said he was speaking to the person interviewing him, and he was saying, "I'm not even rapping. This is my dead homie speaking through me."
Ooh, ouch. Ooh, I felt
And he would also say, like when he was writing, that's not him writing. That's God putting His hand on him
wow.
and putting those words to him so he can get it.
Okay, Maurice, you have quoted Michelangelo and Tupac, which has never been done in the series so far. So I appreciate that. Any more?
Any more quotes? No, they usually, if it fits the situation, then I use those as ways to explain what I'm trying
Right.
to.
But that's why I love the series, and I love bringing in artists, because the artists, everybody's experiences, and just think of what you did, Michelangelo and Tupac. How do we put them together? You follow what I'm saying? All right. Where can they reach you and get your art?
You can reach me on my Instagram page, Braxton Artist, MBRAXTON Artist, all one word. You can also reach me on my website, Avartionary Designs, EVARTIONARY Designs, all one word.com. And you can also reach me on Facebook, Maurice Braxton dash Avartionary Designs.
And you're going to continue to get better, man.
You can only continue to get better. Like I was telling a guy yesterday, one of the other artists, a female friend of mine sent me a piece that I did in middle school.
Wow.
And I looked at the piece on my phone. I'm like, what is this? She goes, you did that for me back in middle school. So I literally had to look at my phone for 5 minutes like, wait, I did this? And I noticed my growth. So if I'm at where I'm at now, just think where I could be in 10 years if I stick with it.
And that's a good point. We can add for our artists.
Right.
You may not think that you have are improving. Look at some work you did last year. Look at some work you did 6 months ago.
Like I look at stuff that I did 2 years ago and I want to go back and redo it. But
that's good.
Right.
That's good.
But I don't redo it because
right. And that's good too.
I know that like I need that as the pinnacle of saying this is where I was at this time, this is where I was this time, and then if you go back and change it, then what's the use of even creating? That marks a certain point in time of where you were at that.
That you can appreciate.
Right.
And then we're going into something else I hear in my head, and that's the whole idea in terms of our spiritual work that we need to do. And as artists, we really need to stay in the moment. We need to really learn how to say that this moment right here is okay. Right. And I'm saying that when you talk about your older work, but right here where you are, whatever experiences that you're going through, go through them and embrace them.
That's your life. You're supposed to go through it for a reason.
Yes.
And you're supposed to hopefully you take from and learn from it.
Yes. And build on it. Yes.
Like I was telling you the other day, I feel like art is another form of meditation. Like whatever you can tap into to where you're able to block out the rest of the world and you're just in a moment. You don't think about eating. You don't think about breathing. Nothing else. You could just tap into that and you're still for that moment.
Wait a minute, you say you don't think about eating and breathing?
Like when I'm creating art and I'm really into it, I'll miss it.
That sounds like love.
I don't want to take a break because I know if I take that break, I'm gonna get relaxed and I might not come back to that peaceful.
That almost sounds like love. You can't eat, you can't sleep.
It is in a way.
It is.
But I need it for my existence.
That's a good point. That's a good closeout point. And artists do need their art for existence. You can't. It's rough.
No matter how many times you try to run from it or you become jaded from it, it
comes back.
It's in me. I need it. It's part of who I am.
Comes back. Speak to you. We tried to close out before. Let's see. If he doesn't give us another quote, we'll be gone. Thanks, man. Thanks for coming by.
Thank you.
I mean, coming by. Well, like I'm in the studio. Like I got a studio here.